Everything you need to know about products and services that can improve your life. This is Experts on Call on CL 650.
You do pick the great ones, Dwayne. Thank you.
That's awesome.
We're back. This is StrataLife, part of Experts on Call here at CL 650. I'm George Gordon. Joined in studio by Dan O'Hearn from Key Pacific Property Management, Dan Schmidt from Remdahl Painting and Restoration, and Ali Mohammed of Paramount Financial Services. Let's go to the mailbag. We had an inquiry from Bob in Vancouver. Dan O'Hearn, I think maybe you have heard of this or have been following the situation where there was a particular strata council where there was the meetings were being held in Mandarin only, and there were concerns from those who didn't speak the language, and what are the rights of the strata holders, what are the obligations of the council, and how does the property manager fit into this? Do you become is this becoming a big concern?
Well, it's certainly interesting to sit back and watch. It's I believe they're bringing it forward to the Human Rights Tribunal, and it'll be interesting to hear what the result is. Certainly, one thing that might happen is whether it just gets dismissed, because it's human rights are usually when you're something that's against you, whether it's a physical disability or help me guys here. It's not
an impediment.
But language doesn't necessarily fall in that category of discrimination, right? It's not against a faith or race or anything like that. Language isn't really discriminatory, so it will be interesting. Some lawyers have told me that they're going to now start writing bylaws that require the council meetings to be held in English. So that will also be interesting to see if that gets upheld. I mean, more and more we're realizing and being told that your castle is not your home, and that we've seen some of these smoking bylaws now get held up by the Supreme Court. So you may be a smoker, you may even have you have an addiction to it, but unless you can demonstrate that you're really housebound, you need to get out of your property, out of your home, off the common property, onto the street to smoke. And maybe eventually the city will have restrictions against that too, right? So you have to get in your car and drive somewhere to smoke. I really don't know. But courts are holding this up, so it's very interesting.
Well, I would think this would put a lot of pressure on management companies. We're talking about your managers who, although they probably don't have enough on their plate already, might now have to bring along an interpreter, learn a second language. Is this where we're going?
Well, I hope we don't have to learn a second language, but again, this is everyone's community, and perhaps if everyone there speaks a particular dialect and they're all satisfied and happy with that, it's probably good enough. But as soon as you have a person who's being excluded from that, then you have to change, and you may have to get an interpreter in. We've seen the courts uphold things, and I think to language is important enough that I'm sure the courts would uphold that everyone attending a meeting has to understand what's going on. But human rights might be, what if someone's deaf? You have to start providing somebody to provide sign language, and I mean it's really quite endless.
Yeah, although the strata councils over the years have made accommodation for those kinds of things, right?
Yep.
And your comment, I think, Dan, is appropriate, that it's a community, right? And so whether it's Ali, serving with financial services as part of that group and joining that community for a period of time because he's serving them, or Dan or your property managers are part of that, or us when we're working on site, you're kind of joining into a mini community, a small town. Right, that has an ethos all of its own, a language sometimes all of its own, and you need to know how to work within that and be able to get along together.
Here's a question for you, Dan Schmidt. In Remdahl's projects, when you're working on, say, repainting a building, although there aren't as many smokers as there used to be, is it a huge difference in what you have to do even in a hallway where smoking has been allowed, even if it's restricted to the units, and as Dan O'Hearn was saying, we may be moving away from that.
Right.
But is that a bigger project for you to to cover up?
So historically, it has been an issue with the restrictions in smoking in common areas. For the most part, that's less and less of an issue. A number of years ago, we did quite a number of social housing related projects, and smoking in the common areas was maybe a little more common in that area then. And so yeah, then what you need to do is actually you need to clean those surfaces and probably put an additional coat of primer in place in order to seal and lock out that smoke. It almost is like dealing with a fire where you've had the residual smoke smell from a fire that if you've ever come back from camping and you can never get it out of your clothes, right? It's the same thing with cigarette smoke. It can kind of get into the walls and surfaces, and until you actually put a seal around, you actually kind of encapsulate it in some way, you can't get rid of that smell. And so yeah, there are ways to do that.
All right, we have a question from Shirley and Langley. Our builder suddenly moved the completion date of our strata development from May to September or possibly October. Perhaps Dan Ahern, you can help me out here. What obligation does the developer have to notify strata buyers about delays and
new construction is an animal on its own. I guess the first thing I caution buyers of new construction or encourage buyers of new construction is to read the disclosure statement, and that's that 100 pages that everyone gets and receives. And though the law says you have 7 days to review it and then proceed with your purchase or not, many people simply don't review it. And within there, I'd tell Shirley, will be the time frame. The developer's probably got some provisions in there that they can do certain extensions, and that's important that they look at that. In the disclosure is also going to talk about limited common property. It's going to have an interim operating budget, what the bylaws are, increase in deposits for their purchase. So there's tons of stuff in there, and it always shocks me and surprises me how few people actually read that.
Plus, it's in fine print.
It's in fine print, and some of it's very legal.
Legalese. Illegal. Here's another point that was raised by somebody else. Is that, well, look at it. I could have taken this money, and put it into something that would have drawn more interest if I'd have known it was going to be this long. Now, Ali, I know that this is not directly your bailiwick, but is this another thing that the buyer has to be aware of and plan for, and in terms of what's the options are open to he or she while that money is being held from, say, the sale of another home or their down payment?
Right. It's a good question, because you never know when a project will be completed and when the occupancies will be allowed. So it's hard to plan in that sense. So for Shirley, she would not have known ahead of time. So maybe the capital that she has reserved for this purchase is kept in a low interest-bearing account versus a higher interest-bearing account. Had she known that it would have been 6 to 9 months. It's really hard to plan. But if you are, holding capital for a project that's to close in 2017, 2018, you're better off parking it in a higher interest account, but in a fairly liquid account as well, in case the timelines get moved.
A lot of homework to be done before you can't just sell a place or save up that amount of money, just stick it in the bank and wait, because you can be out an awful lot of money. Here's, I guess it comes down to the rights of the individual strata holder versus the entire population. This woman called Jeet in Surrey says, look, we need that improvement in the law, but we need that paint, but it keeps getting voted down, and my values are being affected. What avenue does Jeet have to sort of push this issue? Is there Dan Ahern, any safety issue? Is there any rights that they have to pursue this?
That's a complicated question.
Complicated. That's why I asked you.
In 1 minute.
The man with the answers.
Well, she can certainly solicit the support of others within the building that feel the same way and get a number of proxies to bring that forward and be able to get the vote approved for that. Certainly demonstrating the necessity of it. And there's, depending on how critical it is, there's always court actions as well. But I guess going back to the depreciation report, if it's something that's recognized in the depreciation report and the corporation has moved forward and created a savings in the CRF, it's a much easier way to get the money out. So a bit of planning there needs to be done.
And because you can't answer everything about that in 1 minute, you can go to strata.life, get many answers. there's a forum there to leave questions.
Questions at strata.life.
All right.
And doesn't matter who it's for. We'll make sure Paramount gets it or Remdahl gets it.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Dan O'Hearn, Dan Schmidt from Remdahl Painting and Restoration, and Ali Mohammed of Paramount Financial Services. Thanks for being with us today. You have been listening to StrataLife on CIL 650.